Yung Mark Magsayo fight
Go
was
ahead.
wild,
Go ahead.
man. If anything, yun yung best description ko for that fight kasi round 1 pa lang, first minute of the round, may knockdown na solid agad. Tapos akala ko hindi na makaka-recover si Ceja. Sabi ko, ito na yun, round 1 knockout agad. Kaya lang ang bilis nung naramdaman ni Ceja na, wait, hindi pwedeng ganito lang ako matatapos. Ay, ma-veteran. Tuloy-tuloy yung rounds, parang mas aggressive na nga si Ceja. Yung knockdown ni Magsayo niyan, mas solid pa. Akala ko hindi siya makaka-recover kagad kasi ramdam na ramdam niya. Kita mo sa mukha niya na this really happened to me. Parang ganun yung mukha niya. Then, scoring the fight na parang Magsayo was losing on the scorecards unfortunately kasi talagang halos hindi siya makarecover dun sa knockdown niya, and for most of the fight si Ceja yung nagko-control talaga. And then come round 10,
Yeah.
biglang, I guess, naubusan na rin ang hangin si Ceja for being the aggressor. And si Magsayo, second wind naman din niya. Doon yung nakuha yung lakas niya to get that knockout. Solid din yung knockout kasi biglang tumba si Ceja na tulala na hindi maintindihan grabe. We haven't seen a knockout like that in a while, ano?
Parang medyo Ricky Hatton-ish, di ba? Medyo
Oo.
Ricky Hatton-ish. Tulog talaga eh.
Tulog talaga.
For John naman, di ba? For John, how would you describe this win for Magsayo in terms of his ability to recover from a knockdown? And him being able to withstand yung tulad ng sinabi ni
Body
JC
shots
kanina,
nga
like
pala.
the relentless attacks of a seasoned veteran like Julio Ceja. How will this affect the way Magsayo fights in his next few kasi this win is a huge one for him. This will probably set him up for a contender.
It's a title eliminator.
Definitely.
Or it's a title eliminator pa pala, di ba? So how will this benefit Magsayo in his later fights for his career?
Okay, first of all, this fight proved that Magsayo is elite. That he's not just a power puncher, that he has heart, and that he has stamina. Nakita natin during the middle rounds, dun medyo kumana si Ceja. Medyo nahuli na niya yung signature left hook ni Magsayo. Alam natin na yun yung power punch niya. In fact, first round pa nga lang, it was a left
Hindi
hook
niya nagpabagsak.
which floored Ceja. Oo. But after that, medyo nahuhuli na ni Ceja yung left hook niya, and si Ceja naman kept putting pressure. Kaya I was worried kasi mas nasasaktan si Magsayo dun sa body shots more than nasasaktan si Ceja during the middle rounds. Kaya when Magsayo was knocked down, sabi ko, ito na yung turning point. Parang fight or flight na tong moment na to. And at that point, nakita mo nga yung itsura ni Magsayo, natawa siya, and parang dun mo na makikita, are you gonna show us something? Or are you gonna fold and, let this opportunity go to waste? And true enough, during the 10th round, he was losing on all scorecards, by the way. Merong sudden burst ng energy, yung second wind nga na tinatawag natin. He actually missed with a left hook, but since Ceja was moving backwards in a straight line, pasok yung follow-up na straight eh. And yun yung pumasok talaga. And then after that, he was already out on his feet, no? And then finishing touches na lang yung second na straight niya, which did the job. But it really showed na Magsayo is ready for a world title fight. The fight also showed that he has heart, that he can compete with the best in his division, na hindi siya push over. And he's very marketable, di ba? Alam natin na Filipino fans especially are very, very spoiled. Pag walang knockout, ang boring ng laban, walang kwenta.
Exactly.
Hindi maganda panoorin. So we are very spoiled, yung Filipino fans. So para dun sa mga mainstream or the casual fans, ito this fighter si Mark Magsayo is very fun to watch, very exciting. Maganda yung pinakita niya dito sa laban na to. Wala akong masabi.
I'm gonna go back to JC kasi, and you see him like get better, mature through the years, diba? Especially with each fight. Were you worried during the middle rounds na he was getting peppered with those body shots? Tapos he was really fighting out of his range. Tapos I mean, we're talking about prior to the 10th round, the behavior and the maturity that he's got. Like, how would you think what were the adjustments that Magsayo did in order to set up that 10th round knockout?
Actually, I think yung knockdown niya na yun was yung panggising sa kanya eh. I was worried with those body shots kasi actually I was already thinking ahead. I thought na kung sakaling manalo si Magsayo dito sa fight, which happened, this fight is a WBO title eliminator, which means chances are his next opponent could be Emmanuel Navarrete.
Mm.
How is he gonna face a guy like Navarrete kung sakali nagganon yung performance niya? I mean, it was an amazing knockout pero yung the way he took the body shots, medyo hindi sa wala akong tiwala kay Magsayo, pero we all know na karamihan ng Pinoy boxers
Lagi na
nila yung bodega
bodega. Lagi na.
Diba? Parang yun yung normal na problem yung sa bodega pag natitira ng matindi sa bodega ng body shots, medyo tumutupi. At least si Magsayo, he proved na tumitibay na yung bodega nito kasi isa lang atang Pinoy na boxer na kilala ko, at least na naaalala ko na talagang pinakamatibay yung bodega, which is Manny Pacquiao. The rest medyo alangan pag tinira sa bodega, tutupi agad
Kulang sa core exercises. Kulang sa core.
May kita naman sa abs.
Oo. Ang abs po, gitna lang yun, ha? Gitna lang yun. Speaking of the hype train or the hype behind Magsayo, what I really noticed was Magsayo's focus on training even in the off-season kasi he stayed in the States, diba? He stayed in the United States. This is also something that JC mentioned in the previous episodes. Like in terms of focus, he likes the new breed of Filipino fighters now because they know how to play the game, or at least have an idea of how to play the game in terms of having a long career. So for example, ikaw, John, like the development of Magsayo through the years, especially, sabihin na natin, let's go short term, like from his previous fight, he didn't go anywhere else. Have you seen significant improvements in his game?
Nung nakita ko nga dito, like nakita natin siya sa wild card, right? Sabay siya with Manny, andun din sila Jonah Sultan, Casimero, and everybody else in the wildcard gym. Tingin ko yung environment pushed him to do better and to be better. Alam natin na passing of the torch na to itong time na to. So talagang coming out party niya ito, especially since is very privileged siya na part ng undercard. Yeah. So alam niya this is a big moment for him. Nakita natin yung preparation niya from the start, kahit nung time na laban pa lang ni Dasmariñas in Inoue. Andun pa rin siya, sinabayan niya ni si Dasmariñas. I'm sure they shared a few rounds or whatever. Nakita natin he was really in a position to do great things kasi very conducive yung wild card to push him to train harder, to improve his craft. And syempre andyan sila Coach Marvin Somodio, andyan si Freddie Roach, Justin Fortune. He's really surrounded by veterans and people who really know boxing. And from the ALA days, makita mo yung maturity ni Magsayo After the knockdown during the first round, nakita natin na he wasn't forcing the issue. He was still boxing. He was still looking at his angles, picking his spots. Makita natin na hindi siya looking for the easy KO. Kasi alam niya na hindi push over to si Ceja. And true enough, nakita natin na lumalaban pa rin. In fact, Ceja kept pressuring him and stalking him, in fact. Siguro, had he been reckless during the first rounds, nung nakascore siya na knockdown, baka na-disgrasya pa siya, di ba? So, makita natin yung maturity, alam natin the power is there. Alam natin yung fundamentals and yung amateur pedigree nandyan. Mas nakita natin yung star power and yung maturity niya as he prepares himself for bigger challenges. At ito nga yung World Championship.
I think magandang choice na tutok sila kay Mark Magsayo kasi kumbaga pagka natuwid nila lahat ng mali ni Mark Magsayo, or at least majority na his previous mistakes sa mga laban niya, kahit nung nasa ALA pa siya before and napunta siya everywhere else until sa MP Promotions nga. As of right now, I'm not sure kung 100% ready na siya to face the likes of Jesse Magdaleno, Mauricio Lara, Ray Vargas. Even the champs sa featherweight division like Gary Russell, Kid Galahad, and Leo Santa Cruz. How ready is Mark Magsayo really to face guys like these? Yun ang big question ko. I know he can train for them, pero yung readiness, hindi pa natin masabi at this point given the performance he had earlier today sa laban niya.
He's one of the testaments as to why I encourage a lot of fighters to train in the off season, not just train if they have a scheduled fight, diba? He was present in almost all, if not all, the fight camps of the other Filipino fighters who previously fought before him. Now, when it comes to improvement, I like to see more footwork. I like to see more active angular movements, a lot of rotational movements, especially the way he pivots from side to side. There was one particular sequence wherein he was being pushed towards the ropes. Tapos he was able to weave out of it. He needs more of that. Okay, he needs more of those types of movement. And his ability to evade pressure fighters. Kasi if there was one thing that Ceja did right was to cut him off his angles. Then he tried to bully him towards the rope. And then whenever pushed or whenever pressured, si Magsayo nagiging tentative with his attacks. He became really tentative with his punches, and that allowed Ceja the opportunity to pepper his body with punches. Most, if not all, of the body punches accumulated and everything started with Ceja pressuring him towards one corner or
Yes.
pressuring him towards one side of the ring, and he couldn't run away anymore. So if Ceja pushed forward, sinalubong siya ni Magsayo. So when Ceja covered up, Magsayo covered up. And then when Ceja engaged, nagretaliate si Magsayo. Now one way to break that sequence is if a person or a pressure fighter steps forward, you remain center of the ring and then you work to the side. You go to the side. You make him miss. Or parang ikaw yung matador with the bull
With the
running
bull, yeah.
towards you.
It's a great
Oo, yun.
strategy, huh?
What Ceja did was textbook pressure fighting. Okay, cover up, lower down your base. Okay, as you lower down your
Yeah.
base, it's easier to cover up. It's easier to push you forward. And then every time na sasalubungin siya ni Magsayo, it opens him up for the body shots. And then every time that Ceja would connect, aatras si Magsayo hanggang
Kaya
umabot
pala.
sila sa ropes. Yan.
Okay.
So if you watch, that's where Ceja scored majority of his points in the middle rounds. And then the knockdown happened so it's like Magsayo was pushed against the wall. So Magsayo ngayon, fight or flight. So he doesn't really know how to move out of it. So nakipagsabayan siya, opened him up for that uppercut and then opened him up for that hook. Really good recovery and really good. I mean, missed left hook, then it was a sure sign of maturity. Instead of resetting, nakita niya siguro umatras. Ceja was on the ropes. So he couldn't really step back anymore. He loaded up on the right hand, pasok.
Yeah.
So, I mean, beautiful sequence. They could have written a better story ending for that book.